Right. Hi everyone, welcome back to our next series of video here for network operating systems and services. This is the topology which we are working on. You could see that in previous videos of ours, we have installed the SDC, which is our Windows server. So now let's go and try to set up our Windows client, and then we will try to complete um, this network, Swansea network at the moment. So we have done the Windows server here. So today we will do the Windows client, and then we will try to configure the network and IP address and test connectivity. These are three things which we will be planning to do in today's session. Let's hope we can complete it. Right, so here is our server which is already installed and working. Let's go to new virtual machine here. uh, Typical. Next, I will install the operating system later. Yeah, or we can even give the ISO, it's fine. It is a Microsoft Windows. We are going to go for a client. So with reference to some of the questions which I have received during my lectures, uh, what if the topology here is talking about Windows Server and the Debian Linux? Shall I use uh, different Linux machines? Yes, you can use any Linux which is having the capability of acting as a server. The same way you can use any Debian client machine which acts as a Linux client. But for server, if you prefer to use 2025 server 2025, I would say please don't do it, because it is yet uh, it's a new version, so we can wait for some time so that we are confident in working on that. And also I would not recommend you to go to 2019, which is too old for us to do. uh, but for the client, you can either go, I prefer Windows 10. If you want to have a Windows 11 client, yes, absolutely, you can do that. You know what is what is a link where you can go and download the evaluation copy? You can download it. So it's a Windows. Yes. Yeah, any Linux machine which has a capacity of a server, yeah, you can use that. Yeah, Debian, Red Hat has different packages, different versions on it, so you can use anything. Yeah. So let's go for a Windows 10 or Windows 10 and later, I would say. Next. So here I would go for the topology. So it says client 1, client S1. So I will use the same one here, client S1. So the location, as I said, I would be storing it in a location where I want it to be accessed locally. But for you, if you want to store it in the cloud, whichever location you want to store it, you can store it, you can use it, and you can store it. So let's go back here. So here is my SWDC, which is my server. I will go and make a new folder here. It would be as SW client as. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is where I'm going to store my client. So what is the size of the client? I would say 50 GB is okay for me to go with. Even 50 is too much for the client, because we are not doing any specific service in the client. It's just a client machine which is a DHCP. Maybe file shares and file services would be used. So I think 40 GB should be more than enough for it. Yes, yes, please. Mhm. No, we don't give a space for virtual box. VirtualBox is an application. That's all. So we gave 80 GB space for the SWDC, which is our domain controller, which is a Windows server. That 80 GB would be a disk space for the server. Yeah, for the server only. So now, no, 40 GB. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Y- No, 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 no. 80 GB hard disk for the server, 40 GB for the client. So yes, it would be. So if we can go and check our computer's hard disk space, you would see that that space is allocated. That space is reserved. So you could see mine. It's now 494 gigs. So if I power on the machines and if I allocate 40 GB, then this it will take space from that 494 GB which is available. Does that make sense? Yeah. So let's go and customize our hardware. So memory, I would say 2 MB is okay for me. Um, just to give, I can go for 4 MB. Processor is fine. Connect, and here is the place where we want to give our ISO. So let's go to my ISOs here. I have already downloaded my client, so I will go with that client. So it is going to take a while. This is a problem when we have something um, in a cloud. So it will take its time to download it. So let's just give a time so that it picks up this one. So yes, we have the ISO here, um, and then adapter. So here you could see that um, this PC has only one adapter to start with. So we only need one adapter. So we just select that, and we have to make sure that whether it is a VM0 or VM2. I assume that in SWDC, it's this. The logic is this. So whichever you are going to get. So for example, if we say this is VMnet 0 network and this is VMnet 2 network, then for this client, this should be a VMnet 2 network as well. So they both belong to the same LAN, so they both can talk to each other. So that is very important. So we can see that. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Mm. Yeah. So this and this interface, these two interface will be in VMnet 0. This will be in VMnet 2. This we can No, we can have this as VMnet 3. VMnet 1 is a host only, so we can't use it in VMware. If you're using VirtualBox, it will be completely different. So you can just use a internal network and then you can just name it. Okay. Um, so let's go here. Um, VMnet 2 for now, this is okay. Then we can see if we need anything. So let's finish it, and let me power on the virtual machine. Hopefully it starts installing the operating system for now. So let it finish then, and then we can power on the SWDC as well, and then we can configure the network. Yeah, yeah. Oh, as soon just give me install Windows 10 or later as you would on a physical computer. When you are done, the operating system boots up. Click I am finished installing. Okay. Sorry, what's your question? Hmm. No, no, we have just installed the server. That's all. We haven't done anything. Yeah, it is starting to run its installation. So let's see. I will quickly skip the time it takes here in installing, and I will only show you if there is any prompt which is coming up and asking any question. So this is the first window it comes in, asks for the language and time and currency format. I would prefer UK, and input the keyboard is also UK. It is very important. If you are giving US, then the keyboard layout will change to US keyboard. Then you have some conflicts in the keys which you are, you know, keying in. And yes. Hmm. 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 No, that doesn't impact. No, that doesn't affect. That's a good question. Yeah, it will be the keyboard layout inside your particular virtual machine. So for this Windows operating system, you can use any keyboard. In a physical environment we do the same, right? So for one computer I will use one keyboard, the other computer I can use another keyboard, so it's a kind of same thing. It doesn't impact. So now here it asks for the license, so you accept the license and then go next. So you are now installing Windows client operating system, so it will be a default client operating system. So it will be asking a lot of questions like whether you want to use this service, that service, kind of thing. So you can do that. So in a server, you might have noticed that I might have created different partition to work on it, but for this client I don't want to do that, because my idea is to add it as a part of the domain itself. So anything which is stored, which will be stored in the server. So for me, I don't see any value. But if you want to divide like 10 GB or 5 GB and keep it separate, yeah, you can do that. So I just go next, and here we go. So it will go and copy the files and do all the installations here. All right, so the next one is about the region. Yes, it is UK. And then it will come up with all the basics, like ask for a user credentials, username, password for a local login. These are the next steps which we will be doing here. So the keyboard, it's UK keyboard. um, and then you can skip the second keyboard layout. um, you don't want to do it now, so we can say I don't have a network. Some of the details which we don't want, we can just skip it. So continue with limited setup. Yes, we don't want to go into the Microsoft settings and other things here. Um, so we can skip that. So if you're using a Windows 11 operating system, there may be a slight differences in these interfaces. Otherwise, this is how it has to be done. So here it asks for connecting to the network. So for now we will say I don't have internet. And then yeah, it is just to configure it, but we don't want, because we don't want internet here, because it's a local network, so we can just limit it. So we can skip it now, and once the operating system is installed, then we can go in and we can do all the configurations. So here it asks on who is going to work on this. So let's give an username. So let's say I'm going to give my name, and so it wants me to give a password. So I give a password.